morning, good morning. I would invite you to join me, rise in body or spirit, and we will sing, "Oh, we give thanks for this precious day," which is in your teal hymnal on page 1010, or the words will be on the screen. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Precious day, oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for a gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for a gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
When to speak the truth out loud, when to hold it with love, when to let them hold my precious parts, when to carry my own precious weight, how to hold an intimate border.
How to receive an ugly lesson, how to fill out my sweet time, how to show up for existence, letting go of people who only see my love when they are being served, letting go of the people who let go of me, letting go of everyone else's plan for the years I have left.
Letting go of any shame for my small joys. Let each of the portals back to earth, the songs of a justice siren, if we will ever stop apologizing for each miraculous difference between us, accepting that limitations make me human, I know none of these things, but I'm studying.
Flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home.
Good morning. It's okay, it's okay. It's part of life, right? And it's also part of life in a sanctuary where everything's tilted down, so everything's going to roll down the hill. So it happens. Welcome to Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ERUUF as we like to say. I'm the Reverend Jim Lewis, Minister of Lifespan Faith Development and Pastoral Care. And whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender identities, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey or in your search for truth, meaning, and liberation, you are welcome here in beloved community. Especially welcome here on this day when we can still see snow outside. You are actually the brave, fairly many who have shown up in person, and possibly the many who are at home in their pajamas, which 100% fantastic. We love you, and we are glad that you are here with us virtually. So if you're visiting with us today, and you have been that brave to get out in this weather or to find us virtually, I invite you to rise in body or spirit so we might give you an ERUUF welcome. Oh, wow. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for choosing to spend your Sunday morning with us. And if you are watching on the live stream and have access to the chat, I invite you to place your name there and somebody will welcome you online. If you are visiting with us and you have children with you today, they are welcome to participate in our religious exploration classes with our children. And you simply need to follow the children out after the time for all ages. And one of our RE volunteers will be happy to help take care of you and your child, get everything figured out for you, and then you come back into service. Also, everyone is invited to attend our Inquirers classes for newcomers and visitors, which takes place before the 11 o'clock service in the building next door in the Commons room. And if you go there, you'll learn something about ERUUF, you might learn something about Unitarian Universalism. So you just kind of get some information about what we do here and what Unitarian Universalism is. So, if that feels helpful, we welcome you to Inquirers next week. It also happens online. They also do it on Zoom. An announcement I was reminded about from Reverend Daniel, that our Artist in Residence series of workshops begins this coming Wednesday with our Artist in Residence demeanor. It sounds very exciting, and I would just suggest if you're interested, check out the website or e-news for more details on that. And now would be a great time to turn off or down or into worship mode any devices you might have on your person that ring-a-ling, that make noise. We'll take a deep breath in. We'll take a deep breath in. Let it out as we begin this time together.
Good, thank you. Okay, come on down. You know what time it is. Big ones, little ones, the youngest, the tallest, the smallest. Come on down. Hello. So good to see her. Hey, come on down. Come on down. I won't bite, I promise. Are we good? Everybody comfortable? Okay. So, the cot in the living room is our story today. It's a very personal story for me, because I had 5 sisters, and we all slept in the same room. And I remember the first time I slept without my sisters. And I was so mad when they were there that I didn't have the room to myself. And I missed them so much when they weren't with me. So, let's get started with the cot in the living room. And the pictures will be up there. I wish I could sleep on the cot in the living room. But Mommy says it's for guests. Ugh. What's so great about that cot? My sister asks. I lower my voice to a whisper. It would be so much fun to have the whole living room to myself. I'd stay up late and play, look at the tiny cars outside, maybe watch TV and sneak into the kitchen for an extra cookie or a little dulce de leche. My sister shakes her head. I just like to sleep at night. On Friday, I helped Mammy snap the sheets onto the cot's comfy mattress. They're still warm from the dryer, and they smell like my bubble bath. Mammy smooths over the top sheet until there isn't a single wrinkle left. She finishes everything off with one of her handmade quilts and our fluffiest pillow. Who's coming tonight, I ask. Raquel. Boring. She never plays with me. Raquel's dad is working the night shift at the hospital, so she gets to sleep on the cot in the living room. Do you like dominoes? Papi asks. We can make a maze. Papi never lets me build with the good dominoes. And you can see, is this really happening, little ones? No, she's imagining this, right? She does a lot of that, you'll see. No, thank you, Raquel says with a whisper. Will you keep the light on? Raquel asks. Don't worry, mi amor, Mommy says. It doesn't get very dark in here. I wish my room had a big window to let in the lights from the George Washington Bridge. What'd she say there? It's not fair. Say that with me again. It's not fair. Good gracious. We changed the sheets again the next day. Edgardo's mom is singing tonight. She won't finish until 3 a.m. So he gets to sleep on the cot in the living room. He'll probably get crumbs all over it again. Are you hungry? Papi asks. I can make you a snack. I'm not allowed to bring food into my room. Edgardo shrugs. Mommy packed this for me. And there he is in her imagination, enjoying all kinds of snacks on the cot in the living room. Do you know my mom's goodnight song? I don't, Papito, Mommy says, but you can sing it to this little guy. He gets a snack and my toy. It's not fair. Little Lisa's grandmother drops her off on Monday after dinner. She's cleaning offices all evening until way past bedtime. So Lisa gets to sleep on the cot in the living room. I hope she doesn't wake up in the middle of the night again. Do you like cartoons? Papi asks. I can change the channel. But I was watching that. this page turning is a challenge. Lisa shakes her head. When her grandmother peels her away, she sticks to Mommy like cotton candy. I don't fit in that little bed, Preciosa, Mommy says, but I'll rub your back until you fall asleep, okay? Mommy turns off the TV, and I go to my room where there is nothing to watch. It's not fair. No one comes over on Tuesday. Can I sleep here tonight? I ask Mommy. But you have your own bed. I tell her that my sister snores, which is true. Mommy shrugs. Okay, she says. We put warm sheets on the cot, and I smooth them over until there isn't a single wrinkle left. Not one. My parents kiss me goodnight, then turn off the lights, and I hear their bedroom door close. There's nothing good on TV now, but that's okay. The night is going to be perfect because I'm finally sleeping on the cot in the living room. But this pillow isn't mine. And there are monsters in here. Something is growling in the kitchen. Oh my. Mamita, what's the matter? Thank goodness, Mommy is back. She holds my hand and walks down the hall with me. We slip into my room, and I fall asleep to the music of my sister's snoring. Lovely, lovely. It's Wednesday, and Raquel's dad is working the night shift again, so she has to sleep on the cot in the living room, all by herself. She must really miss him. It's not fair. There isn't much extra space in our room, my sister says, but there's just enough, I tell her. She agrees. The cot fits perfectly, and so does Raquel. And there they all are together in the room, kind of like, for me, having my sisters there. I missed a page. No. There's one page that doesn't seem to be here, or I'm missing it because I have very bad eyes. But there's a picture and a little something at the end that says, sometimes you know your neighbor's best when you have to sleep on their pillow, when you have their experience, and then you have a different way of seeing things. And that's what happened to this little girl. Have you ever done that where you had an experience, you were watching somebody else have this wonderful experience, and you were so envious, so jealous, and then you had the experience, and it wasn't all you thought it was going to be? Have you experienced that? Yes. Yes.
I always thought roller coasters looked great, but then when I got on, got really emotional.
Yes. I had that same feeling. I thought, oh my gracious, what if somebody else is as scared as I am on this roller coaster? Anybody else want to share an experience? Where it wasn't as good as you thought it was? Sometimes it's good to put yourself in somebody else's place Things look different. Things look different sometimes when you put yourself in somebody else's experience. And we're going to sing you out to religious education, where you're going to get to process this more.
Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. We believe in peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Please take a moment this beautiful morning to turn and greet your neighbors.
Please join me now in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Spirit of life, we enter this time together as a house of stories. As we listen deeply and learn from one another, our hopes and fears are revealed within the humanity we share. May the stories we gather and share draw constellations that reflect a shared ministry that calls out the best in us, to live out our common values, to bring equity and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to embrace our dream of a world community of peace and justice for all. Each week, we also hold in our hearts joys and concerns, global, local, and within our ERUUF community. This morning, we hold in our hearts all those impacted by the ongoing and devastating wildfires, especially in California. We hold in our hearts all those affected by the ongoing conflicts in Sudan, Gaza, Ukraine, and around the world. We hold in our hearts Tricia Ryan at the passing of her last surviving aunt, Sheradale Lewick. We hold in our hearts Tricia and Lisa as they lift up prayers for many friends in Southern California impacted by the fires. We hold in our hearts the heart and soul of the world. May we find ways to remember the power of love to heal and transform. Let us also take a moment to hold all the joys, milestones, and successes that lay before us in life. May we continue to celebrate these moments on the journey together as we give thanks for the gift of community, coming together in this time and place to celebrate and to remember. In a spirit of unity and compassion, together, let us breathe in silence. And so it is. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Let's sing together. Our meditation hymn this morning is number 95 in your gray hymnal, There is More Love Somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna find one till I find it. There is more love somewhere. Hope. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. Peace. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. Joy. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere.
This morning, I bring you a sermon on story and storytelling, meaning making, and perspective. I have to divulge, I am a singer, and so you get to hear some songs today as part of this sermon, and either for your benefit or your detriment, my song of choice is, of course, musical theater, but more on that in a moment. So either yay for you or I'm sorry. But a sermon this morning on story and perspective and meaning making, with a few songs in the midst of it to contextualize it as readings. Kiss today goodbye, the sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck the same to you, but I can't regret what I did for love, what I did for love. Look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always knew. And I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for love. Gone, love is never gone as we travel on. Love's what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love, what I did for love, what I did for love. Love is never gone as we travel on. Love's what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love, what I did for love, what I did for love. So don't get too caught up in the song, because I want you to listen to these words, all right? Right, okay, because there's some serious words in here, especially when we get to the end. So that song was What I Did for Love. It was from the musical chorus line. And this song has been in my life since I was about 6 years old. There was a cassette in my mother's car, and it was songs of musicals that were, honestly, they were probably too mature for me. Will Coming from Cabaret was one of them, and if you know Cabaret, you know that is too mature for a 6-year-old. Yeah, that one. But this song, What I Did for Love, got stuck in the back of my head. And I don't know exactly why in the beginning. And my guess is that I've always had this thing for songs about longing. Songs that urge us forward into a new space in life. Songs that, in stories, might move the plot line forward. In musicals, these have been called I want songs because they tell us about what the character wants. It's why when someone asks me about my favorite genre of music, I usually say that it is songs with a story, which could be any genre. But indeed, as I said, I grew up listening to musical theater. And in musical theater, like most stories, there is this direction to the story that we tell about life. When something is intense, the music builds into this moment of meaning-making, a moment of meaning-making almost always encapsulated in song. When I was 6, I didn't know what to make of the meaning of this song, but I made meaning of the music probably rather than the lyrics, where it was quiet and loud and quiet, where toward the end in the original in recording, everyone in the chorus joins in. As I entered my teen years, as many of us do, I longed for romance, relationship. And I would revisit this song and make meaning of its story. And it's connected to romantic love, I thought, and leaving behind any regret of what you might do for that love. Now, I had seen a chorus line, so I should know better, but we'll get there. So I joke that if I had any tool of divination in my life, a tool to read what was happening in life, it would be these old musical theater songs. But songs like this that travel with us, I sometimes think of them as time travel. How I can imagine flowing down a long tunnel of time, seeing all the places where this song might recur to me, where songs or experiences might recur to you, at all these different times in our lives and how things manifest in different perspectives at different times. So, like I said, when I was little, I felt something. Maybe it was passion in the music. When I was a teenager, I wanted love, but was fearful, and this song brought a hopefulness. Then in my 20s, I really realized that this song is not about romantic love at all. It was a song about a dancer saying that they gave everything to do the thing they loved, and that they put it all out there, and that they were leaving behind regrets. And even now in my 30s and 40s, and the challenges that these years have brought, this song has encouraged me to persevere. So at every stage, this song brings a little bit something different, a little bit different perspective, a little bit different nuance to the story. And it fascinates me to think about how that might continue into the future, and how for each of us we may have these pieces that sit in our lives where we might gain new perspective on them over time. Now, this is also one of those purposes of religion and spirituality in our lives, helping us to make meaning of what happens in our life and in our story. For some faith traditions, that meaning-making is very prescriptive. A moral code may be given from on high, so to speak, prescribing us right and wrong. And with many spiritual traditions, that right and wrong is determined because God or higher power says this is right and this is wrong. Now, part of what I've always loved about Unitarian Universalism is that it requires us to examine our beliefs, examine our stories about what right and wrong means and about how the world works. Unitarian Universalism requires us to take a journey of seeing what right and wrong means beyond just what we have been taught. And on a religious and spiritual level, that can have many different results. For those who are born into Unitarian Universalism, it's hopefully the way they experience their religious life. For those of us who find UU later in life, though, I think many of us We find UU because we have questioned what we believe or have been taught about belief and found it lacking. And we end up coming to UU to be with other questioners. And additionally, there are UUs who grow up in religious traditions other than UU. They may question some or all aspects of those traditions, come to these spaces, and upon taking their own spiritual journey, find aspects of what they believed that truly do bring them joy, solace, understanding of the world, and they value this UU space. Now, if you look at, and you can kind of see it at ERUUF in particular, because we have our sources groups. And if you look across all the UU churches, you find UU Buddhists, UU Christians, UU Jews, UU Muslims, UU Hindus, UU pagans, and UU non-theists who find community and insight both here and in one or more traditions. Because indeed, there are people who show up to all those groups, but they show up to all of those groups, or more than one of them. Because they have taken that journey to understand how they find meaning and have ended up in multiple places, sometimes both in our congregations and in another or in many other faith traditions, I find the space and ability to believe in many ways at once to be part of the beauty of our tradition. And I'm going to find my water, because we'll have another song. Are you ready? Am I ready? Everything has its season, everything has its time. Show me a reason and I'll soon show you a rhyme. Cats fit on the windowsill, children fit in the snow. Why do I feel I don't fit in anywhere I go? Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky. Everyone has their daydreams, everyone has their goals. People like the way dreams have of sticking to the soul. Thunderclouds have their lightning, nightingales have their song. And don't you see, I want my life to be something more than long. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky. So many folks seem destined to settle for something small, but I won't rest until I know I'll have it all. So don't ask where I'm going, just listen when I am gone. And far away you'll hear me singing softly to the dawn. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky. So I have carried this song with me since high school. And there's this passion in the lyrics about finding one's place in the world, finding the particular thing that is one is meant to do in the world. And this is another song that often found its ways into my journeys that reminds me to keep moving forward until I find my place in the world. However, a few years ago, I actually saw the musical that this is from, Pippin, and I gained some new perspective on this song. How many people know the musical Pippin? Like, know the plot line? So this fascinates me, and it fascinates me because this song is so often used to talk about finding one's place in the world. But if you know the musical Pippin, it's a highly fictionalized story of Charlemagne's son, Pippin. And as you heard, he's looking for his place in the world. He sings this song at the beginning of the show, and the rest of the actors are around, and they're kind of players in this game where he's talking to them about, I'm trying to find my place in the world, so they help him. And first they help him join the army under his father's command, and it's not the right fit for him. So he's like, I need to figure out what my purpose is. So he journeys across the land looking for decadent adventures, and it's not quite right for him. Lots of substances, lots of pleasure, and it's still not right. And then the revolution comes. And the revolution convinces him that he should kill his father and take over as king, which he does. Right before the intermission, and when you come back from intermission, you find out, yes, that was also not right for him. It was not big enough. So he runs away from this kingship. The players in the show find him a woman who has a son that he can love, and he can be with this woman and bring up this son, and it's still not enough. It's still never enough. And so again, he turns to the players and says, where am I meant to be? It just wasn't big enough. And the troupe of actors on stage tell him, oh, you can still do bigger and you can still do better. In fact, we have something bigger for you to do. Jump into the sun. It is the biggest thing you can do. Jump into the sun. And in the production I saw, they had a flaming pit, and he was climbing the ladder up to jump into it. And this brings this revelation to him that maybe it's not about him always looking for a bigger and better thing. Maybe it's trying to figure out where he fits, rather than something that's larger, rather than being the hero all of the time. So this brings to mind for me the importance of the shifting perspective. In my mind, sometimes it's about us not always being the hero, even in our own stories, and that's okay. One of the writers that I read that most spoke to me about perspective was womanist theologian Dolores Williams. She was a big influence on me in seminary. And she talked about perspective from the viewpoint of her biblical studies and iterated how her shifted perspective as a Black woman helped her make deeper meaning of her religious text. She said that while it was important to find a historical perspective on the text, it must also be seen through the lens of the community that you exist in currently. Williams also stated the importance for her in reading the Bible, her religious text, from her perspective as a Black woman in a time when the common readings, like there was the mainstream reading, there was a newer reading that was Black liberation theology, but was primarily done from the perspective of Black men, and then there was a feminist reading, which was primarily done from the perspective of white women. So her perspectives and the perspectives of other womanist theologians provided yet more perspectives on her religious text than the readings that had come before. And it was important for expanding out that meaning that people might make. So in thinking about what might be considered spiritual text in Unitarian Universalist spaces, One of our sources of values and morality is direct lived experience. Now, I value this as a source because it highlights the wisdom that each of us may hold, as well as holding that space of wisdom without holding a need for deity. Though space for God can exist in direct experience for those who have that belief. But even in holding that direct lived experience, I believe it is valuable to consider different perspectives on our own story to see what we might understand differently. Anyone who has been in a deep relationship, be it romantic or friendship, might know the value of seeing your story from a different perspective. Because there is something about coming together in agreement from a place of disagreement or argument that asks us to see someone else's perspective on what is going on. Do any of you have a partner or a close friend, or have had one who it really behooved you to start trying to think of it from their perspective in addition to yours? Anybody imagine that? In worst case scenarios, not hearing that leads to division and polarization. But with those who we trust and we find space of mutual care and relationship, we can learn from those perspectives. This is exactly what our main character from the Time for All Ages today illustrated today. She was sure of her perspective. The best thing in the world was sleeping on that cot. She was sure of her story. She was sure of the way she understood it. But what I love about the story is when she found a different perspective in this story, since she was part of that community of love, that didn't make her a bad person. The story didn't dwell on a need to prove her wrong. Instead, it helped her consider how she might center love in action and build a new story in her life. It made her aware of something she hadn't been aware of before. Now, this is often where I would end this sermon. But I'm thinking about perspective, and I'm thinking about 2025. And so, a little postlude that I feel is in ways serious. So something to take away from today, something to chew on. So this week, Meta, the corporation that runs Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, announced that they will no longer be fact-checking posts, wanting to encourage freedom of speech. Now, whether or not you look at these social media sites, they influence the narratives and the stories that dwell in society. So as part of that, no longer fact-checking, they explicitly said that it will be okay to say LGBTQ people, trans people are mentally ill because of gender identity and or sexuality. That was explicitly in the policy because it's a freedom of speech to say that. Now, I saw this and definitely let out a bit of an eek. Because I know many folks who consume media, including social media, assuming that it is the hashtag the truth, and do not question and fact-check further. So this is me saying, I want to encourage you to be mindful about believing what you read without doing some fact-checking. And even that can be a little bit challenging online sometimes, right? There can be a lot of conflicting information. But I say this because more and more in our attempt to protect free speech, I see our culture equating opinion with research. I see opinion being equated with research in a way that can almost feel intentionally inclined to provoke a fear response for folks. A fear response against one or another or multiple marginalized communities. And especially when those communities have stated their own perspectives about the challenges they experience in the world. I want to encourage you to be thoughtful as you digest the stories in media in the coming months and years, knowing that in some cases there may be less inclination towards facts and more inclination toward allowing hurtful opinions without clear labels. Now, I also say this not as something that began this week, but has existed in ways for a while. Now, I feel like it is amplifying a little bit in ways now. But like I reflect back on the ways that it has even been in our mainstream media. I think it was 2014, 2015. It was around there. I was part of some Black Lives Matters protests in Oakland and Berkeley. And I was there in the protest, watching, like part of the protest, watching it happen. And then I would look at mainstream news reports, both online and on television, and hear how violent the protest I was just at was. And I was like, what? And like, sure, sometimes these protests inconvenienced folks. One time I saw one protester try and go smash a car, and then two other protesters are like, no, 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 no. That's not what we're doing here. And like other times that I saw protesters like being intentionally taking actions of love, and how that was never reported on. What was reported on was violence. Violence is an overwhelming theme that, as a person who was there, I never witnessed. And this was in our mainstream news. And so I say this not as something that begins now, but as something to be aware of. And not something, and I'm not saying that we question everything. I'm not saying that like there is no facts, but just to be thoughtful, just to be aware. My encouragement to you today, what we do with our stories, and the stories of others, how we tell those stories, how we understand those stories, and how we receive those stories, it often directs how we perceive and interact with the world. As always, I want to encourage us to be mindful of the actions we take from those stories, making sure that those actions are based in love. Amen and blessed be. It takes many resources as we weave the fabric of beloved community in our congregation. It includes the offering of our time, our talent, our creativity, imagination, and treasure, all given as we cultivate hearts of generosity toward our mission, vision, and our work in the world. As the greeters come forward to pass the collection pouches, you may place something in it, or we invite you to point your device to the QR code on the screen, or use the QR code on one of the cards you'll find in the pew rack, and that'll take you directly to our online giving portal. If you need assistance with this, please ask the office directly after the service. Sally Franz will continue now with our offertory. We give thanks for all the many gifts of beloved community, especially the gift of belonging. And now, Jocelyn.
Please rise in body or spirit and let's sing together the Fire of Commitment, which is in your teal hymnal on page 1028, and the words will be on the screen. From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meets to call us on our way. When we lose deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meets to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Our closing words today from the author Terry Pratchett. There's always a story. It's all stories, really. The sun coming up every day is a story. Everything's got a story in it. Change the story, change the world. Blessed be.